Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. We're in Hollywood, we're feeling good. We're feeling good in Hollywood. Whoop whoop. It's a good time in Hollywood. I mean, economically not, but it's a good time because, look, we're still going about. Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. We're feeling good in Hollywood. It's a good time. You know, more businesses are coming to the town. And even though, like, there's not many people about at the minute, you still know you're in Hollywood. You know what I mean? There's still that element of, like, when people say we're all going through this COVID thing together, we're all as one. In Hollywood, we're kind of going, I know, but we're kind of, you know, yous are all as one and we are as 1.1, you know? But I got my tea this morning from Coffee Yard. More coffee shops are coming into Hollywood. You've got the Bay Tree beside us. You've got Edge Coffee, Homebird. You know, the town continues to have some of the best coffee shops and all that kind of thing around. And then all of a sudden they go, hey, what about La Tanqueria? Some of the best Mexican food about. I really like the one on the Ormer Road. And here's the thing, they're not even sponsoring this episode. But when you come to my town, when you show up in my town, you'll get a little bit of respect from the Todd father. And don't think they didn't have to ask to come here. Don't think they just, you know, apply to the council and just start paying rent. No. Here's how it works. If you're a business and you want to be in my strip, here's what happens. You get your boss and your managers, and you come to my house, and you do whatever you do not rap the door. If you touch the door, goodbye. Not I'll kill you, I just mean you'll not get to open up in the town. You stand at the door until I open it. You're ushered in by, ironically, Usher. Usher Raymond IV brings you in, and you tell me what you can bring to my town. Don't ask what your town can do for you. Ask if you're allowed to come to my town. So I said the La Tanqueria, because I wanted to show them a little bit of respect, because they're Mexican.
It's La Taqueria.
Yeah,
What?
you said it wrong.
La Taqueria.
Tacos?
La Taqueria? What am I saying?
Tanqueria.
La Tanqueria? Yeah, I'm saying La Tanqueria because I am opening a rival Mexican across the road called La Tanqueria. And the USP of my business is you go in and it is, the tables are in hollowed out and refurbished World War II tanks. So before you judge, you're saying it wrong. La Tanqueria. Am I, or have I just invested £75 in my new Mexican business, La Tanqueria? I think we can work together with La Taqueria. And if I'm, here's the thing, people don't realise that when I'm corrected in my town, you're running a risk. Because you could well be in the police station across the road that, may I point out, only opens from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you insult me from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m, you're done. If you do it at 10 past 7, I'm sure you're fine. You get to go. But La Tanqueria here, that's class. Guilt Trip are coming. You know, donuts. You've got Little Wing. I mean, it's a great place to be. You know, and I essentially, you know, I'm not saying I'm the Fonz or whatever, but I'm saying that whenever I walk to the studio, all of these places are like, you know, they come out, they respect the Todd father, they bow, and they try and give me coffees and teas and whatever, and cash. And I say, listen, I'm not taking your coffee and tea, but I will take £15 on the first Friday of every month. So I have a little racket going where I let them stay, but it's a good time. It's a good time to be in Hollywood. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because we've worked out a little deal with Pfizer, where on this podcast, if you quote the code Tea With Me, you get 15% off and free shipping on your vaccine. That's not true. That's not true. But I wonder if they will recruit like people that genuinely are like influencers. I wonder will they get them to like get on board with the vaccine and try and tell people like, listen, it is actually pretty good. You know, will you go through the story of a local influencer's Instagram timeline and will it be like, you know, 5 products before it's the vaccine? Will it just get lumped in with the rest of the stuff that they're flogging? You know what I mean? Will they be like, Oh, I just got this chaise long from Avoca. Love it. Them lying on their side. Then you scroll to the next one and they're like, oh, this fucking pity faloo. This pity faloo really hits the spot. Apricot, my fave. And then where you go to the next one and they're like, oh, B&M are doing a fucking great deal on these wire brushes, on these Brillo pads and stuff. Just them at B&M, standing in the middle of the aisle. Also got a small can, very small can of Dr. Pepper for 35p. Didn't know they were still going. And where you click to the next one and they're like, oh, just got hooked up, quite literally. And it's them just with their arm in a drip. At Pfizer, hooking me up. Appreciate it, bro. Quote my code, influencer20, for a free shot of extra vaccine. You know what I mean? Like when you go into Starbucks or whatever, you get the extra shot. Maybe these influencers are just getting a lot more vaccine than us. They're getting a free 15%. But the extra shots, like, you know, it's like vanilla. You know, so your body like feels that inside as well. I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, it's a weird time. It's going to make you say weird things. I've been having that conversation with friends where people say, like, would you get it? Will you be getting it? And friends only say that so they know if they should get it. Because your mates are like, here. And I asked the question too. I mean, I asked it in like a comedian's WhatsApp group. I was like, would you get it? And I went into that totally open to being on both sides. So if everybody had gone, no way, like, I'm definitely not getting it, I would have went, no, sure, I'm not getting it either. But if they all said, like, yeah, I probably will get it, then I will get it. I don't know. I think I will get it, but I would like to be not the first people to get it, because they keep saying, like, oh, the elderly are getting taken care of first, but the elderly are probably secretly like, oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, the elderly are probably like, because they probably were being like, we need this and all, we need to get this, and it's like, be careful what you wish for, because they're showing up with the syringes, and the elderly are like, here, what about the kids? What about the kids? That's our Christmas present for the kids. Get the kids done first, and then we'll see what the crack is, and then come back to us. I don't know. I just know that the comment section, and we're not even doing a comment section today, but the comment section has become the story and stuff. Like, you look at the comment section to see how something has been received, and you'll get it in the first 4 comments. But like, people, yeah, the people who dismiss it, you know, you'll have a guy who'll be like, over my dead body, no way will I be getting it. Bill Gates pedo. Bill Gates is a computer pedo and all. I'm not getting it. Steve Jobs, no way. Trying to muzzle me, no way. Free speech up the hoods, no way. Never will I get it. And then the comment under it's like, yeah, but if you don't get it, you'll not be allowed to go to the pubs. And the guy's like, alright, I'm way to get it here. You know, I think once people realise that you might not be able to go and do things without getting it, they will want to get it. But I know it. I don't know. Like, people are like, it is quick the way they're doing it. But then again, it's not people like me and you coming up with it. You know, if you and me, if whoever's listening or watching, if you and I sat down together and came up with a vaccine in like 6 months, and then they just put it out there, it could be described maybe as irresponsible. Because where would we start? Like, I remember this guy, Chris, I used to be friends with when I was a kid. We tried to recreate Coca-Cola based on the ingredients on the back of a Coke can. Because they said, like, vegetable oil was one thing. So we just put vegetable oil in a bowl in his mum's house in East Belfast. And then there was, like, caramel something. So he just put a little bit of caramel in. And then butter? There was, like, 3 things that I told you the name of, and we were like, if we can get them and mix that well enough, we should be able to make our own Coke. And you know what's funny is, and spoiler alert, we were never really able to recreate. 2 9-year-olds in a house in East Belfast were never really able to recreate what Coca-Cola had been working on for, I'm gonna guess, a lot longer than the 25 minutes it took us to brew up our brand new soft drink. So I don't know. I presume they had some real geeks working on it, like some real smart people working on it. So I think I would take it. But then again, the people who are like, no, mate, no way, I'm not taking it. It doesn't really. You can't, like, I don't think you can, like, that's the fear of a lot of people. It's going to be mandatory. They're going to make you take. I don't know how they could. You know what I mean? I don't know how they could, unless they just, like they do with the COVID testing centres, where they just employ a lot of people who are just looking for jobs. Unless they were to just train them in blow darts. And you just have a lot of young people running about in high vis vests. Bollocks, fuck's sake. Just waiting outside your house from 50 yards away, forehead. Fucking vaccine, my loaf. How funny would it be to see guys who really don't want the vaccine just get it through a blow dart from a young person? I think part of them would definitely see the banter in it, 100%. You bastard. I see you. You got me. I mean, it would be maybe a more fun way to take it if you didn't, like, if you're scared of needles and you didn't know when you were going to get it. It could be any time. How paranoid would you be if you knew you were going to be getting the COVID vaccine from a youth in a high-vis vest with a blow dart? Like, every time, like, you go to the toilet in the middle of the night, oh. And then you just would not be expecting it. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't be expecting it, and all of a sudden he just crops up. I don't know. It's something for the government to think about, isn't it? There's going to be somebody replying to that. Somebody will share this and go, see what they're doing? Somebody will share this and go, so this is what the government are up to? Blow darts? Fuck's sake.
You're being paid.
I'm being paid, yeah, for every successful blow dart. And it's like you get more money the closer you get to the forehead. See, if I was like a chief scientist or whatever, and I'd come up with a COVID vaccine, I would imagine I'd have been working hard for a long time on that and stressed out. So what I would do is, definitely just for my own benefit, if it made no difference to the effectiveness of it, I would just tell all the rest of the scientists, I go, listen, the thing about this is, it has to be done in between the balls and the bum. That's where it has to be put in, either there or the forehead. So I would tell, like, all the politicians, if I came up with it, I go, the thing about this is it's most effective going in the middle of the forehead, just because they'd all be like, oh, you'd have no reason to lie, like, just to see. And then I would just go to all the vaccination centres and just have people be like, are you sure? Fuck, because people wouldn't like it. But then I don't like, because I get an infusion of Crohn, I don't get an infusion of Crohn's disease. I mean, that would be very unprofessional. If I was going up to the hospital and they were like, listen, we're going to give you Crohn's disease, I would probably not show up to that appointment. But for my Crohn's treatment, I get a infusion in the arm. So I'm okay with needles, but I hate it in the arm. I would like that. Probably your bum cheek would be one of the best places. Because it's it's a little bit meaty. So I might like to have it in there. So, I mean, I don't really have any inside track on the vaccine. You'd be surprised to know, but the only thing I would say is I think the blow dart system would work. I think we could get some ethically friendly darts and dart housing. I think, or maybe like a lot of just retired darts players, a lot of grandas and uncles and stuff who enjoy playing darts. It would be a good way to get them out of the house. It would be, they would have the aim for it and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun, because you could branch out into other things. I don't know if you can inject poppers, but that would certainly be, when nightclubs come back and stuff, that could be a fun element to, some nightclubs and stuff. You could have a guy running about kind of dressed like, like Mowgli, or something like that, where he's kind of and he could be running about. He could be running about and have a certain amount of poppers in a blow dart. And when you go in, you basically sign up for, like, you could be getting poppers here, and then he just runs about, and you the dance floor, you're like running everywhere and all, like trying to avoid him and stuff. But that would be fun because you'd be avoiding him, but then possibly you'd be like, well, hopefully, it wouldn't be the end of the world if I got hit. So I don't know. I mean, I think this time of year people are saying a lot of strange things, and I think the last 10 minutes is no different. But what I would say is, check out our Patreon, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. We put out the bonus episode once a week. We'll probably do some more episodes coming up to Christmas. We're going to have another live episode around Christmas as well. So it's a good time. Also, I've got a lot of good guest episodes coming up. The episode I've been begging up for a while is the Paddy McDonnell episode. That's going to go out on Wednesday. And honestly, I've never laughed more doing an episode of Tea With Me. I don't know if it's like 80 episodes of this that we've done or something like that. I have never laughed more than when Paddy McDonnell told me about his stag do in Salou. His stag do in Salou. I'll get some video clips out from that and sort of tease it out a little bit. But that was just such a good episode. Also, SSE tickets are, and I haven't really even put up a post saying this exactly. I just said I was really happy with people buying tickets and stuff. The tickets sold for the SSE Arena show are about 4 times more tickets than I've ever sold on an opening day of selling tickets for something. I couldn't believe it. Like, I have a WhatsApp group with the promoter of the show and some of the guys who work for them. And every time they updated it with ticket sales, I nearly fell off my chair. I was like, I do not believe that this is a thing. So cheers to everyone who's got a ticket for that. Chancer. It'll be a brand new show. So the one I do at Waterfront will be totally different. The show I'll do, Chancer at SSE, will be 100% new material from the Waterfront one, somebody told me. So in case you're like, maybe I can't go to both, you can go to both. So I don't know. With the SSE, I think the scale of that, I have been thinking about it when I normally don't with bigger shows, because there's not much happening at the minute. So I've had a time, like, you always think about the next show. So if I announce Waterfront on a Tuesday for 8 months' time, you don't really think about it because you have a gig that Thursday in Ballymena. So you're thinking about that next gig. So it's always like so far away, you'll think about it closer to the time. But when there's not much in between now and then, you definitely do think about it. So I'm really, really excited for it. I think it'll be an experience. I think I have some stuff planned. I'm trying to see if I can make it work. You know, there's a little bit of dark arts going on, so we'll see. I looked at a pair of shoes and nearly bought myself for it, even though it's next November, and then I realised that this time here, that's financially irresponsible. And also I have really big feet, so it probably would look stupid. And I might spend that money that I was going to buy shoes with for a foot reduction. And I might just go down to like a regular foot size for somebody of my appearance. You know, because I think if we played a game where you had to guess my foot size based on looking at my face, I think a lot of people go for a 9, an 8, perhaps. And I think if I could choose a foot size, it would be a 7 or 8. But I'm a big banana feet 11, 12. You know, I've long feet. And the thing about that is my feet kind of go out for a long time. And I'm pretty tall, but I'm not like joke tall. So like, I sometimes worry I'm like, you know, a perfect L. You know, and I don't know if it's ever held me back in my life having big feet, but you know, whenever we're in this latest lockdown and we only have a week to go, you kind of get a little bit of cabin fever. You know, you kind of start to think about things you've never thought about before. You know, you're thinking about things like, where are all the old graveyards? You know, because you go to even an old graveyard and they're only really going back to like, you know, 1805. But what I'm saying is, Where are all those bros who died in 1304? You know? Where are my boys who perished in 1178? I don't see them. I don't see their gravestones, you know? So what are we doing? Are we just going over them? Or where are all the graveyards going? And you can join me tomorrow night on UTV from a one-off documentary special. Where are all the old dead guys at? Because there's questions to be answered there. Does anybody know? Why are we not?
They've rotted sufficiently that they just disappear. And there's just more space to put them in.
Hey, wake up.
Oh, you're
Wake up.
Sorry.
You're asleep.
Sheeple.
You sheeple. Let's find out. Why are we all thinking about COVID and this kind of thing? Hey, where's my great granny? Because I want to go and pay my respects, but I can't find her grave. Is that convenient? Fucking Boris Johnson. You know, so let's find the old graveyards. Let's decorate them. Let's do something nice for all those people that died. In the, you know, where are a lot of a lot of the Bible guys? There should be something done for these people. So I don't know. Let's find all the old graveyards. That's something to think about. So anyway, sippers, we're going to get on with this episode. Quick message from our sponsor. I love saying that. And here's another thing. If you ever want to get in touch with the podcast, teawithmepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to sponsor an episode, if you want to send us cement, we wouldn't appreciate it. But if you want to send it, you can. teawithmepodcast@gmail.com. We can arrange all that kind of thing. Let's just kick on. Let's get involved. And honestly, if anyone has any more info on that graveyard thing, please let me know. Let me interrupt the podcast. Just say the podcast is sponsored by supportlocalni.com. I mean, you should know what supportlocalni.com means just from the name, but it's supporting local businesses in Northern Ireland at this really difficult time, especially coming up to Christmas. A lot of people just giving Amazon their money, all right, which you shouldn't do because, you know, yes, it's convenient, but at the end of the day, all those guys like Jeff, whatever he's called, you know, they've got too much money. They've got too much money. What's he spending it on? It's not hair product. So what we want to do is support local businesses. Supportlocalni.com is essentially that. It's like Amazon for local businesses. You see a lot of posts at this time of year, people going, I'm looking to buy local this year. Comment below with some great websites. For some reason, I hate that post, but I like the message of it. So what you can do is go on supportlocalni.com and see the hundreds of local businesses that they're working with, directly support, and in some cases keep open your local businesses. Great guy called Matt set this up. Turned in Donald Trump there. Great guy. He's a great guy. Supportlocalni.com. He set this up. He just wants to help local businesses. They've partnered with so many good ones. Have a look at the website. Think about Christmas gifts. See what's happening. They recently partnered up with Guild Trip and they gave away hundreds of donuts to the businesses they're working with. They're doing great work across the board. Supportlocalni.com. Back to the pod. Welcome back to the second half of the pod. Going to take some listeners' questions. Look, the listeners' questions have got a lot more lowbrow coming up to Christmas, and I don't know what it is, but people are just kind of asking a lot of nonsense questions, and that's not what we want. We want hard-hitting, highbrow, political. Because, you know, you've seen some of the episodes recently. I've had political experts on, Oscar-winning directors. You know, the level is here, and I'm being asked questions like, would you suck a horse's dick for a $5? And that's a stupid question because not enough money and it wouldn't fit. You know, so why would I do that? And then people always ask stuff like that and go, aye, but if you had to. In what situation would you ever be where you had to do it? Right, so questions. I mean, for example, M. Hurdy. I mean, fantastic Twitter username, mhurdy7394. I'm surprised that wasn't taken. Says, can you answer my question from last week again? Because it's really important to my thesis. Now, when someone says thesis, you presume that they're doing something academic and smart and intelligent. His question last week was, him or her, I don't know who it is, Oh no, this definitely asked by a fella. If the milk we drink came from dogs instead of cows, do you think people would happily still drink lots of milk? And have you any experience milking dogs? What are you studying at uni? Because if it's veterinary sciences, you should be struck off even before you've qualified. But if it's all my answer's the same from last week. If it's all we ever knew, then yeah, everyone would be fine with it. You know, everyone would be fine with it. You would milk dogs, but then, oh no. Well, here's the thing. The big question, and I don't really have power on my laptop. My laptop's switched off, but if it powers on, I want to ask Google the question: do dogs have tits? You know, and because I don't know, I'm gonna say male dogs don't, and I'm gonna say female dogs do. And I've never had two less enthusiastic nods from behind the camera ever. No one knows. Everyone's like, I mean, yeah, conceivably. I'd say in some places they maybe do drink dog's milk. And dog's milk definitely sounds like a local indie band who would have supported General Fiasco back in the day. Dog's milk would have sang like that and then played the Union. Did you look at them?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, both.
What, male dogs have boobs?
Nipples?
Have nipples? Oh, yeah.
He's talking breasts.
Yeah, I'm talking about breast. But nipples are breast.
Nope, nipples are not breast.
Yeah, but men have breasts.
Female dogs only have nipples also. Neither have boobs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. Have I got to 32 and not realised? The dogs don't have tits. I just like in my head I was like they might, and then I went, oh yeah, I've seen probably thousands of dogs and I've never seen
We didn't stop you, like.
232 double D's coming down the road on a Shih Tzu. Dogs tits. I mean, it would make dogs a lot funnier if they did. And also they don't dogs are very secretive about their genitals. Because like even the boys, they have penises, but they will only bring it, like it comes out like a little, you know, like it's concealed, and then all of a sudden, you know, you rub over on the wrong part of the chest, and before you realise, maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's a lipstick, or maybe it's his dog penis. It could be either, because I actually also didn't really know up until about last year that male dogs had dicks, because my mum has a dog, and where's this going? And it likes having it likes to go on its back, it's a Shih Tzu, put its wee paws up, and then get its belly rubbed. But I don't like that. I don't like doing that because I don't know, I'm like weird about the contact. And anyway, one day I was just like rubbing its you ever start a sentence and you go a story and go, I shouldn't have started this, but there's no natural way for me to get out of it. This is one of those ones. So I'm just rubbing his chest, right? I'm just rubbing his chest, but I'm talking at the same time to other people in the room. And then all of a sudden he got really quiet, and I was like, why is he so quiet? And I genuinely said to my mum, what's that on him? And she was like, that's his little dog penis. I genuinely had no idea. I'd stimulated it out, and then he was just looking at me, and I was like, oh no, bad dog, stop and all. And ever since then, he's just always looked at me in a slightly weirder way. He's like, remember that time? He's like, here, dude, get it, let's get it out again. You know, and that's why I don't trust dogs. But yeah, I guess dogs are just embarrassed about, and maybe there is a certain way where, like, I don't know, like maybe if you like, maybe there is a way to bring out a dog's boobs. I'm just saying, like, maybe there is a hidden way that we have never figured out. Like, you have to say a certain thing, like an abracadabra type thing, and then all of a sudden... But that prompts the question, which is, if we did milk dogs, would cows then fill in for dogs? And would we just have cows? Like, would we have like family cows and running about with them and that kind of thing? I'm not sure. I just remember people used to tell me about cow tipping, and I didn't know if that was ever an urban myth or a thing. People would say, oh, if you go up to a cow in the middle of the night because they sleep standing up, which again might not be true. If you push a cow over when it's sleeping standing up, it'll die. Did you hear that too?
I think we might have been told this at the same time.
I think we might have
by the same bullshit.
gone out and seen what the situation. No. Yeah. Maybe we were told that by like the same person, or but cow tipping was always seen as like a little bit of a thing. Yeah. So to answer your question, I think let's make a call now. Dogs don't want us to know about their genitals, and let's leave them to it. A little bit of privacy and a little bit of respect. Again, here's the level we're at with the question. Peter McClellan says, how many 8-year-old children could you beat up if they came at you in waves of 10 with a 16-year-old boss coming every 5 waves? How many 8-year-old children could I beat up if they came at me in waves of 10 with a 16-year-old boss coming every 5 waves? I mean, the 8-year-olds, I've got no doubt I'm going to mill any 8-year-old knocking about. But then some 16-year-olds, like 16-year-olds that play rugby, 16-year-olds that do MMA or whatever, like I have a feeling, like here's the thing, I've never been beaten up, right? But I have some feeling in the back of my head, some fear that the first time I do, it's going to be by like a 16-year-old. I think someday, like when my son's older, he'll say like, Daddy, I'm being bullied at school. And I'll be like, listen, I'll see you at the end of school. And I'll go down to the gates and it will end with me being beaten by just one child. You know what I mean? Like not like a gang of them, because then you could still be like, all these, teenagers beat me up. I have a feeling I'll go down to some like 15, 16-year-old and be like, hey, you leave my son alone. And he'll go, make me. And I'll go, right. And then he will just beat me up in his uniform. Like I could be beaten up by a big child. But 8-year-olds, 8-year-olds are very, very stupid. So if they're not going to know to approach from different angles. When you see 8-year-olds playing football, like in the playground or sport, they all just run towards the ball. That's what they would do here. So what I would want to do is sort of draw them in, peel off to one side, find the sort of main nerd, elbow to the temple, he's down, and then just get in the middle. And yeah, I think the cardio would come into play. I reckon I could get through fights with 38-year-olds. Not 38-year-olds. I couldn't fight 38-year-olds, but I could fight 30 children that were 8. I mean, yeah, I could take 2 16-year-old bosses, and then by the third, I think I'd start to gas a wee bit, and then I think at that point they would overpower me and beat me up, I would say. But like I remember hearing a story from, let's just say, an elderly relative of mine who said that whenever he lived in America, his son, who I'm also related to, he was like, my son was getting bullied, so I sorted the guys out. And I was like, flip, someone's getting bullied by a man. And I was like, what happened? And he goes, he was 5, right? The son. So I was like, oh fuck, like adults. He goes, yeah, and I went down and I sorted these 2 guys out. And he goes, basically like, yeah, he's on his way home, and some Puerto Rican kids were like throwing him around a bit and stealing his money and that kind of thing. And he goes, so one day I just got a 2x4, went down, waited for them, and tried to threaten them. Then ended up not using 2x4, but punching both of them. And I was like, oh my God, what age were they? And he goes, I don't know, 7? And I said, they're not men. And he goes, if they're old enough to bully, they're old enough to be hit. And I was like, that isn't a thing because they're children. And he goes, there was, and this sentence will always stand out to me until I die. He goes, there were 7-year-old men. I just punched 2 7-year-old men in the face. I enjoyed that. Con Gribben says, if you opened the chippy, what would you call it, and why would it be called Shane's Cod? It wouldn't be called Shane's Cod because there is a guy called Shane Cod who is a dance music guy, DJ man, and look, Mike absolutely loves it. Loves like his dance music, techno, electro, rave beats. But so there's a guy called Shane Codd who is Irish, right?
Yeah.
He's Irish. He's got a big song out at the minute.
He's only like 18 or something.
7. He's a 7-year-old man DJ. He's 18.
Something like that. Isn't it?
Young, yeah.
Shane Codd. So like the first couple of times I heard him on radio, I'm like, what are they playing? Well, but here's the thing. Then I don't want him to get big to the point where people say my name, and then because I'd say like when he's introduced now, people are like Shane Todd, and they go Shane Codd. So I think if he has another couple of bangers, I'll be introduced on stage, and people start to go Shane Codd, and then everyone will be like, no, Shane Todd. So I don't want Shane Codd getting bigger because I don't want to have to go, no, Shane Todd. Because at the minute, Shane Codd's probably going to go, no, Shane Codd. So I hope that his career doesn't take off, and I hope this really is as big as it gets for him, but I wish him all the best. Shane Codd. Wonder is that his real name, or is Codd a stage name? It sounds like someone that would do my tribute act whenever I'm like a lot older and there's some guy going about the comedy clubs. Shane Codd. But if I opened up a chippy, what would it be called? I don't know what it would be called, but it would be like Bobby Mack's, which was this legendary chippy in Hollywood, where the Ruddy Duck is now. The Dirty Duck bar has a chippy. That's where it was. But Bobby Mack's was like the quintessential Northern Ireland chippy in like the mid 90s, late 90s, mid 90s. You walked in, there was no like, there was no decoration. It was just, you know, the chippy where you can see your food kind of like waiting, where they just throw it onto that thing, and then they also just had a fruit machine. So you walked in, there was a fruit. You could play the fruit machine while you waited for your pasty supper, and I loved it. There was, you know what the sign of a good chippy is? There was about 48 people working in it, and it was a small chippy, but they all had different expertise. You know what I mean? They're like, no, Denise is the best with the vinegar. Only she could do the vinegar. Bobby Mack's was class, so it would be, I don't know what I would call it, but it would be maybe Shane Todd's Cod. But then if I called it Shane Todd Cod, people might think it was a collaboration between two of the biggest names in EDM, and I don't even know what EDM is.
Or that you were trying to like own him.
Shane Todd's Cod.
He is my God.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see what he's about. I think someone tweeted me under his. So he must put out a tweet with his song, and somebody under it tagged me and was like, thought this was you, and then I replied to both of them. I just hit reply all, and I was like, made some like joke or whatever, thinking like Shane Codd is gonna love this. He's gonna go, well, look at his name, and then would have a bit of a thing back and forth. He did not react to it in any way, so he can go fuck. You can go fuck yourself, Shane Codd. Who do you think you are? Fucking Moby? Huh? Fat Boy Slim? Chemical Brush? You're not. You're not. You're just an 18-year-old. You're just an 18-year-old man. No, good luck to him. I hope he does well, but not too well, obviously. Paul Doherty. Any plans for other TV shows or a second season of Previously with Shane Todd? Really enjoyed it. Look, I have plans for TV shows 17 times a day, and thankfully a lot of them do not get made, because what are some ideas I've had recently? I had an idea recently where I was like, could I learn archery? I've never done archery, but I was like, that would be a great skill to have. And then could we set up like a fake battle? Like recreate some like historic battle, like Battle of the Boyne? And then could I... Although, were they using guns? No. Battle of the Boyne was when? 1066? No, that's Battle of Hastings. Battle of the Boyne was 1690. Yeah. So would they have had guns? Or were a lot of the lads, would they have been, like, was it stones? Swords.
Cannons.
Yeah. Imagine the first guy coming down with a gun to the battle, everyone would be like, mate, that is so sly. That is so sly.
He's cheating.
Yeah, you feel like such a nerd with your sword. Whoosh, whoosh. The guy's like, that on mate. So I think Yeah, I was thinking like something to do with recreating battles. I wanted to visit some battlefields, and then I was like, I don't know why people would want to see me do this. Other ideas I've had for TV shows. Me and Dave wanted to do something recently that was absurd. Me and Dave talked about this idea, and I can tell you the title of the thing, but not what the thing is. And the thing is called Once Bitten. Is that the start of a Once Bitten,
Twice shy.
Twice Shy? So we had an idea for this thing called Once Bitten, and we talked about it all the time. And then I googled it, and Once Bitten is a thing. And then I was like, oh, don't worry, we can call it this. And then that was taken. So I do have projects floating about, but they are not good like, does anything stand out? Like, I will once a week say to you, more like when we're allowed to properly go out and film and do all that. But I just said, Chris Eubank. I said, can I do Chris Eubank impressions? No. I would have said, listen, should we do a series where this happens? Was there any that stand out where you were like, do you want to take more time to think about this?
It was always, I just always remember the response was like, do you realise what would be involved in making something like that? Like the time, you were like, we should go around all of the coast of Ireland.
Yeah.
And just go and visit all these places that are on the coast. I was like, that will take months to do.
So many of my ideas are me just wanting to get away for a little bit of a holiday. Yeah. I'm like, but could we go to Tenerife and do what? Good question. I mean, at the minute it's just called we go to Tenerife. Yeah, so much of my stuff is like, yeah, that like we could walk around Europe, the whole length and width of Europe, on a budget of 15 quid, and it's me, Jackie Fullerton, and Dale Winton, and you're like, Dale Winton's dead, and I go, listen, don't kill a good idea. I think if the idea is right, we can get him. So I don't know. I don't even know what the question. Oh, the question was plans for any other TV shows or a second series. I don't know. I think I heard somebody say they were pitching a second series of Previously with Shane Todd, but now I've thought about it, I don't know if they said that, so I don't know if that is if that is maybe on the table. But if it is on the table, I will take it off the table and have it. I would like to do it, is what I'm saying. Any other TV shows? I don't think so, but I would like to be in some. So whatever it is, I'm up for it. Johnny says, watch this. There's a guy called Rex Chapman on Twitter. Who's Rex Chapman? Okay, so what I think this is a pastor in America, like a preacher, and they've put a little bit of guitar rock behind it.
Because we have... In the name of Jesus. Standing in the office of the prophet of God, I execute judgment on you, COVID-19. I execute judgment.
Yeah, I like that. I like that this guy... Is Rex Chapman the guy? Oh, no, he's not. I thought he was the preacher guy. I think that is some really famous preacher, but I don't know his name. Like some American guy who like is a multi-millionaire and has a private jet and just lands in, does a sermon, kills it, gets the money bags, gets on the plane, goes. Speaking of money bags, also at this point towards the end of the podcast, I realised that for the first time on the podcast, I wore my Money Toad merchandise t-shirt, but then I've been wearing a fleece zipped up the whole time over it.
Can't even see it.
What?
Still couldn't even see it.
You still couldn't even see it. See, there you go. Quinny says, it's all about Larne today, Shane lad, after their Champions League win last night. Here's the thing. Yes, Larne won the County Antrim Shield in local football last night, but I don't know if it has ever been all about Larne. I don't think any day it's really been all, in the grand scheme of the world, I don't know if it's all about Larne, but it maybe is a little bit about Larne. I like that. I like that Larne, just in retaliation to the Mike McGoldrick videos, have decided, like, listen, we need to up the game here. And there's a guy called Kenny Bruce who owns the company Purple Bricks, like property company. He's originally from Larne. He just basically made like, I don't know, a load of millions, and then he came back to Larne, having like lived away or being based away, and he's like, here, Larne, you just want some money? And it's Larne, so everybody's like, yes. And he's just like revamped the town, and they're doing loads of great work with the football club. So it is good to see, but it is like when Larne. I'm not saying when Larne won the County Antrim Shield, people from Larne should have just tweeted me, thanks. But a little bit of gratitude would have gone a long way, and Kenny, a little bit of money would also go a long way if you want to fire me some. But yeah, I like that Lauren won that. It was good to see because the guy who owns it has loads of money and might listen to the podcast. Phil says, might be late to ask, but what would you most like to see from 2021, excluding stand-up being back to normal? Yeah, that's probably because on every podcast I say that I want stand-up to return to normal. What would I like to see in 2021? I would like to see, a lot is floating about my head here, like world peace. A lot is floating about my head, like a good vaccine. I'm thinking, could we finally have peace between all those guys in Northern Ireland? Hello? Who are like, oh, we're better and all, and then the other side like, no, you're working all. But I think really when it boils down to it, what I'd like to see is that caramel bunny back from the caramel chocolate bars. Where'd she go? Because whenever I was a kid, I really thought she was a little bit of hubba hubba. You remember on the caramel chocolate bar, there was a wee caramel bunny, and for no reason, she was just really sexy. Like there was obviously some sort of pervert guy at Cadbury who was like, listen, I know what will really be nice in this bar. And they were like, oh, you thinking about adding in a new ingredient? He's like, yeah. Let's get a sexy wee rabbit with a brown. I think the Dairy Milk bunny had I think I need to buy a new Mac because it's been plugged in for a long time. It's not switching on. Yeah, okay, it's switching on. Let me just have a look at the Dairy Milk. No, it wasn't dairy. She was just caramel. Cadbury. It's smicked out to say Cadbury's because it's Cadbury. It's like Tesco's. It's just Tesco. Sainsbury is actually was called J Sainsbury for a while, but people in Northern Ireland were just like Sainsbury's. You just add an S on to absolutely anything. What flavour? What do you want in your sandwich here? Tunas. Onions, like we put the S on the end of it. Cadbury bunny. I don't think I'm connected to the internet. I'll go on Hollywood free Wi-Fi. Because that is one of the best things about living in this town is that and working in this town. I don't live in this town anymore, but I work here. And there's the Cadbury bunny.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Caramel in the 80s.
Yeah.
Seductive looking bunny.
Yeah.
Her?
I think that was towards the end of it. But I think she started off like way more. Right. So, yeah. Look at that wee dress and stuff. So I think in my head.
Oh, that's like a fan. It's like a fan art.
Oh, right. Okay. That's so weird. Send me that. But I think in my head, because the sexy Cadbury bunny has been away for so long, I have really made it something it's not. Like I thought she used to come on and say, like in ads, say things like, whoa, get this in your gut, big boy. But I don't think, now I've thought about it, I don't think she did. So I'd like to see her back. Let's get her back to some work and see what happens. And let's bring back great Saturday night television. What about that? Let's bring back Family Fortune. And let's not have, like, modern people host these shows. Don't reboot it and be like, oh, Gino DeCampo, Rylan. Good presenters, right? Entertaining guys. Get the old boys back. 100% get the old guys back. Les Dennis. Les will do it. Cheggers.
Dead.
Cheggers is dead. I've just found out. But would 100% have done it. Wogan. No, I might joke. I know Wogan's gone. But like, there's a lot of those guys still knocking about.
Forsyth dead.
Oh, I was about to say Brucey. Oh no.
Really?
You know, you're like whenever like an elderly auntie or whatever says, "Good to see you. How are you keeping?" She goes, "Do you know who's dead?" It turns into like a wee game show. Do you know who's dead? Oh, I don't know who. Find out after this cup of tea. And then she's like, right, thanks for playing. So somebody has died on the street.
I think Roy Walker's still kicking about.
Clue number one. Well, could we get Roy to present Who's Dead?
Yeah.
Welcome to Who's Dead? Is it Alan at the top of the street? That's right! Say what you see. You know who you don't see, Roy? Alan. Mr. Chips carrying the coffin away. Oh, that's dark. Roy Walker fixed my micro scooter in Edinburgh once. And that's not a euphemism.
That's a lie.
No, it's not. Roy Walker's son, Phil, is a stand-up at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival like 8 years ago. I bought a micro scooter, you know, like a wee metal micro scooter just for getting about Edinburgh, because you would go to all different shows. I bought a micro scooter because I was 7 at the time, and I used to just bop about on that. And then I was flyer in a show, and Roy Walker and his son walked past, and I was like, I'm good chatting to him, because I'd met him at something years before. And then Roy Walker's like, "What's that you have there?" And I said, "Oh, it's just my micro scooter, Roy, but it's bust. I bust a wheel." And I was like, "Let me take a wee look at it." And then his son I was chatting away to his son, and Roy just stopped talking for like a couple of minutes, and then I looked back, and my micro scooter was just fixed, and then I was like, "Where's Roy?" And he just floated off into the sky. He flew away. He didn't fly away, but he genuinely just fixed a micro scooter and didn't want any thanks for it. So I think if Who's Dead can get a little bit of cash, we can get off the ground. I would like Roy to host it. Stevie Henning sends me a video. Stevie also has a podcast called In the Hot Seat, which I went on a couple of. That's a longer video. We can do that we'll do that in next week's podcast, because I'm a little bit pushed for time. But cheers. Stevie has a podcast called In the Hot Seat. I went on it last week or the week before, so do check that out. Barry says, "Who should be the first politician to be vaccinated live on air to give us reassurance about COVID-19, and why shouldn't it be Sammy Wilson?" I've seen that comment a lot pop up recently of people saying, sure, give it to the politicians first and then let us know. And weirdly, I think everybody is kind of like, do that. Everybody's like, yeah, why not? I mean, if they're the ones saying it's all good, then fucking you take it and I'll take it after. It's a bit like, you know, whenever you're a kid and you're like at a swimming pool, but the water's kind of cold, so you say to everybody you're with, well, let's all do it at the same time. But you know that, like, as soon as you get to the edge, you don't go. And then one of your wee cousins just like, you bastard, and ends up in it and gets hypothermia. You know, I want to be standing at the edge, watching people in the pool going, "What, is it all right now?" And then if people go, "Yeah, it's actually dead on," then I will get in via the steps. And I'm not sure what the metaphor is there, but I mean, listen, people are saying it like it's a real thing, like on UTV Live. They're going to be like, "Oh, here's the first one. Give us your arm there." Fucking Nigel Dodds, like, "Here we go. What's it like, Nigel?" It's cold. It's cold in my veins. You know, it isn't going to happen. And also, those people, well, there is a big reason why the politicians here they actually won't take the vaccine, and it's because they are vampires. It's because they don't have souls or any blood left in their systems. They're bloodless, so they don't need to take the vaccine because they don't have organs. They don't have hearts. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. But they don't have, like, genuinely, this is weird, but if you looked inside a politician and there's fucking Nigel Dodds on a motorbike coming to get me, right? But if you looked inside, remember that German guy on Channel 4? Why was that a thing? He used to just cut people. He didn't cut people, like, I was going to say he asked them first, but they were dead. But they were dead, and he would go, "Here, mate, do you mind if I..." Remember the German guy would just, like, slice people open, like, inside of a sandwich and go, "That's mad, isn't it?" Remember him?
He's also dead.
What are you, lad?
He's also dead.
He's also dead. Yeah, I mean, no wonder he was just cutting people open and being like, "Isn't that mad?" You're like, yeah, but what can you tell us about this scientifically? He's like, no, nothing. But isn't that mad the way that looks like that? Inside Northern Irish politicians, there's just caramel. They have all been filled with caramel because that's the deal they signed whenever they sold their souls to the devil. Moving on. Yesterday, by the way, Spotify do that annual thing where you can see your number one listened to podcast and the songs you listen to the most, all that kind of thing. So everyone who fired up pictures of Tea With Me being the most listened to thing, show me your most listened to. I don't use Spotify right now, but
Sure.
are you proud of it?
Hold on one moment, please.
Okay, sorry. In the meantime, Oran O'Kane question: what the hell was Ole thinking not taking Fred off fuming here on the Lisburn Road? I mean, it's very funny to me that you gave your location. Like, you're only fuming on the Lisburn Road. But then when you get the, I don't know, Tate's Avenue, you'd be like, oh no, it's fine, I was just fuming on the Lisburn Road. Fuming on the Lisburn Road also sounds like Christy Moore's song.
Hold it in.
Oh yeah.
These are your number one podcast. Hold it in or it'll disappear. So Tea With Me 5, so go fuck yourself. Full Disclosure with James O'Brien. Best of the best, Northern Ireland. Unfiltered, James O'Brien. Team Deacons? What's Team Deacons?
It's like a movie thing.
Okay.
DOP. Okay.
But you wouldn't listen to podcasts that regularly, no?
Nah.
Okay. And I guess, I mean, I can't be annoyed because you're here for the podcast, so
The fact that it's my 5th most listened to is actually
it's
very
an
surprising.
achievement.
Yeah.
Matthew Murnan, what role do you think you could play in season 5 of The Crown? I don't know, some sort of Joffrey type figure. 100%. Like, do I not look like a wee weird member of the royal family that would always be like telling them to do really atrocious things in like foreign places? What, like, definitely like I would play like I would play second cousin Julian, who like is just about a member of their family, but he always shows up, and they're like figuring out, they're like, what should we do about the situation in Namibia? And they're like, should we send more aid? Should we send water? Should we send money? And then Julian, I would just pop out and go, kill them. And they'd be like, why would we do that? And I go, for fun. And I'd have, for some reason, a big baby's bonnet on. But I'm 45. For some reason, cousin Julian's always he's dressed up like a big baby, and I have a big big giant lollipop. And anytime they ask my advice, they never ask my advice, but I always give my advices. Kill them. And I just go back to my lollipop all the time, and a servant is pushing me in a pram. Season 5 of The Crown is just called Cousin Julian. Cousin Julian, we need to show a mark of respect to people in India. We need to go over there and really show them some love and give a speech to really galvanise and motivate the people of India. What do you suggest? Kill them. Julian, you need to stop this. Cousin Julian, yeah. And he kills servants and all. 100%. So I would definitely be up for being Cousin Julian in The Crown. Lauren Dooley Tourish, double barrel, says, so apparently I listened to 3,892 minutes of Tea With Me this year. Can you give Sippers a wee insight to your 2020 Spotify Wrapped? That's crazy because I didn't even know we did 3,892 minutes, so that's kind of mad. And thank you very, very much for that. So I have Spotify on my laptop, but I have Apple Music on my phone at the minute. So, I mean, I don't think they do a thing that tells you your most listened to song, unless I'm wrong. But my 6 last added songs to my library were Chemical Brothers, Block Rock and Beats, Liam Gallagher, Friend TV Unplugged, Stand By Me, Tom Grennan, This Is The Place, Juice by Lizzo, and what? Freed from Desire, Gala, and Wall of Glass by Liam Gallagher. So there you go. But I don't know what my most listened to thing would probably be the Hamilton soundtrack. Keithy Mack says, do you need a plant in your audience for next year's SSE show? You know, like the lawnmower man you paid? If so, I'm your man. I'll do it for a boneless meal from Nando's. Medium spice, see you there. Yes, we can definitely work on something. That's because at the Waterfront show, at the end of the show, I've talked about this before on the podcast, I was talking about my dad stealing people's lawnmowers, and I was closing the show by saying something, and some guy shouted out, by the way, the reason you know it wasn't a plant is because he shouted it on my final punchline. So it could not have been the worst place to heckle. And this guy shouted out, your dad nicked my lawnmower, which I had said in the first minute of the show. Now, did I turn it into potentially some of the best comedy has ever been done on the planet Earth? Yes, I did. Did some people after say, mate, no way, you set that up? Yes. Reason why I did not set that up is because, number one, it's very weird to do that, and always somebody will find out. And the other reason I didn't set it up is only if like Liam Neeson would do it would I have set that up, because all of our friends, everyone we know living here, nobody can really act. So if I had prompted a mate to do this and went, you'll be having a couple of pints at the show, but at this exact crucial moment, I want you to shout, your dad nicked my lawnmower, like you didn't practice saying it. The reality that would have been me in the middle of my fucking closing bit and some guy being like, 2 seconds, mate. What was it again? Fuck up. 2 seconds. Your dad nicked my lawnmower, so he did. Thank you. You know, so that's why it wasn't a plant. That's why it was a real guy who could have ruined the show, but didn't. Because I am so good at stand-up. Connor Diver, great podcast with Terry George. I design memorial cards as well as commercial graphic design, and was called to a house for a card order off Tate's Avenue a few years back. Took details as usual, then they produced a photo. It was Jerry Conlon. Oh wow. So Jerry Conlon was the central character in Terry's film In the Name of the Father. And wow, that's mad. Cheers for sharing that, Connor. That is that's pretty nuts that it was Jerry Conlon. But if you haven't seen the film In the Name of the Father, Connor, you'll know, everyone who's seen it will know, it is an unbelievable film. And the Terry George podcast was a lot of fun. Definitely my favourite moments. Like, Terry, is it hard not to be biased when you're making films in Northern Ireland and from Northern Ireland and it's in the middle of the Troubles? And he goes, well, I don't know, because I am biased. And I went, okay, thank you, Terry. And he goes, yeah, I'm Republican. You know, I love that, because we're all guilty of like trying to be on the fence about a lot of things and trying to present ourselves as like straight down the middle on so much. So it's very refreshing when somebody's like 100% Republican. This is what we're dealing with. I loved it. But the Terry George episode was great. What a guy he is, and I'm glad that people enjoyed it. Belfast guy in China, Patrick Quinn, BGICPQC, says, do you think you will have more children anytime soon? Patrick, what is your limit? Not your reproductive abilities, just your ideal family size. I mean, I've never been asked in the podcast what is my limit for having children. My limit is I'd probably like to have about 24 more. I want to have a lot of children, because I just want to, a bit like Bobby Max Chippy, I want everyone to have a speciality at taking care of me. I want, this son is really good at making the tea. This son is really good at toast. You know, this son's really good at brushing my teeth. So I don't even have to really move, and he just does it all. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to answer that on a podcast, to be brutally honest. I don't know what's my ideal family size. I don't think there is. I mean, you just have to see what happens. If that was you asking if you and I would like to go down that route, then my door's always open. No idea is a bad idea. Bradley McAdam, topic, Larne Football Club. In fact, the whole podcast talking about Larne Football Club. I'm sure Kenny can sort out the money. Yep, Bradley, we've already covered that. Well done to Larne for winning the Champions League. Ruben Wilson, weirdest encounter you've had with a fan. About 5 minutes ago when Patrick said, how many children would ideally would you like to have? No, weirdest encounter with a fan. I'll try to think of something quick that I haven't said on the that I haven't talked about before on the podcast. Not weird, but what about when the guy came to my door, like door-to-door salesman for some charity, and he came to my door and said, "Alright mate, we're just doing houses in the local area going around." He goes, "Here, do I know you?" And I said, "Oh, maybe. Can I get a photo and all?" "Yeah, well, if we stand a wee bit apart, we can." "Yep. No worries." Got the photo. He goes, "Cheers for that, mate." He goes, "I wouldn't even bother you with the sales pitch." I was like, "Oh, thank you." He walked off. He goes, "By the way, mate, who are you? Why did you want the photo?" You know? So I brought him in and made him watch about 7 hours of different stand-up things that I've done. Christwar Ginley. I mean, I've got that wrong and I apologise. "You and Dave seem to have a good relationship. Banter's always been witty. Have either of you ever went too far with any jokes towards each other?" So yeah, 100%. But that's what friendship is. I think the thing that jumps out is whenever at the start of COVID and all that kind of thing, I said that Dave was. I put up a picture of Dave that wasn't like a funny picture, just a straight up picture of him, and put it up on Twitter and said this man has been going around Bangor High Street selling fake hand sanitizer. It's actually seawater and a lot of his own bodily liquids, and I tagged him in it and I said, like, "Can you be vigilant and all? He's a real scumbag." And I'd say Dave received 400. For some reason, the youth of Northern Ireland really went at him, and all these kids were sending Dave messages just saying, "I swear to God, dirty bastard." Dave got, he reckons, 250 messages saying "dirty bastard," and he had some friends like round visiting in the garden when we were allowed to do that. His friend's wife works in a local school and said to Dave, "What was that hand sanitizer thing about?" Because all the pupils were talking about it, and they told the teachers that this dirty bastard was going about selling hand sanitizer, and they showed the teacher, who's Dave's friend, a picture of Dave, and the teacher was like, "Ah, right, okay." So I think that potentially goes too far. Let me see. We have Jordan. Okay, that's another question. Did I? And I think I did Twitter. Yeah, okay. So that's all the. Killian McKay, watch the gym Nuri owner acting the candy man, not closing the gym. Yeah, there's a guy who owns a gym in Newry, he's just not closing it, and he goes on Facebook Live and all, and he has like a turnstile type thing at the front of the gym, and the police, it's really like undignified to try and like get at someone through like a turnstile thing, because the police are like trying to look authoritative and like police, but then they're like trying to get their wee arms through and all, and they've got a wee camera, and he's just filming it all. He's like, "No, I mean, I'm not closing, like legitimately, I'm just not closing, like we're keeping the gym open." And what's funny is in the back you can just hear a few fellas doing reps. You know, you can just hear your dad in the background on the pec deck going, "Shh, shh, shh." He's like, "We need to keep this open, look." And there's just your dad in shorts, your dad in a pair of Newcastle United shorts from the 92-93 season on the lap pull down going, "Shh, shh, 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 shh." He's like, "We need to keep this open because people are working on their physical health." And your dad is just there with his beer belly and his big baldy head, wearing a vest. He's wearing a string Slazenger vest. And your dad's called Robert, and he's going, "Yes, Robert. Yes, Robert." Just in the background. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the situation. I just know people will kind of do what they want. I don't know. I've seen a little bit of the video, but he's just keeping it open. So, don't know. Maybe we'll get him on the podcast or something and get to the bottom of it, because I can understand some of it and some of it I can't, I think. But then again, I don't really know. All I know is that before I go, I'm going to plug the merchandise, which is on shopify.com. Shane Todd Comedy. I want to plug a Patreon again, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. shoplocalni.com. We'll put the link to that in the bio. Honestly, if you're thinking of getting Christmas presents, always good to have a look there. Our discount code with Manscaped is Tea with Me for 20% off and free shipping. And ultimately, here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the podcast rolling over Christmas, Wednesday and Friday, but we're going to fire out a lot more bonus episodes because we just have like a bank of episodes. So we're going to start rolling those out over Christmas, because the time between, like the lead up to Christmas, time between Christmas and New Year, all that kind of thing is just boring. Like you played with all your toys too much. You're like, oh, this is wick. You've completed all your Tetris and all games, whatever you get. So you need more podcasts. So that's what we'll do. Sippers, thanks very much for listening and watching. The man behind the camera, the man behind the camera labra, if you like, it's michaelfoster.tv. And that is his name. People always go, oh, is that a business name? No, it's not. He's called, his first name is Michael Foster, all one word, and his surname is .tv. So he's still filming away. He's filming anything you could need if you're opening a company that are servicing badminton rackets. Niche, right? Don't know how much business you're going to get, but if you want to drop a sweet promo, get him. He would probably, here's how smart he is. He'd put Tiesto Adagio for strings over the top of it. Strings, badminton, good reference. He'll film anything. If you are maybe a new paramilitary out there, want to get a bit of street cred, you want to, I don't know, maybe you want to, you're going to do like a punishment beating that you want filmed from like multiple angles in 4K. Speak to him. He's what?
4.6.
4.6K. If you want to get some housebreaker getting beat with a load of bats by a load of boys, you can get it in 4.6K. But yeah, film. If you think that you have the fattest goldfish in Europe, if you are looking at your fish tank and going, I think that might be the fattest goldfish in Europe, my man will come and do a 1 hour long piece about it. michaelfoster.tv. We gotta go. See you later. Thank you. The t-shirt do look good. They do look good, the old Money Toad t-shirt. But I've been wearing the fleece all the time. And Dan specifically sent me a text for the podcast. Go and make sure you're wearing the t-shirt and then you talk about it. And I have. So there you go. See you next time. Well done to Larne. I'll never say that again.